Gabriel Hedengren for Peacock TV, and I'm here now with Etere and Ariel to discuss the recent events in Ferguson, Missouri. Etere, what were your initial feelings when you heard about Darren Wilson not being indicted for the shooting on Mike Brown this morning?
To be honest, I wasn't really surprised, but nevertheless, I am shocked that a case of an unarmed black teenager was killed for no reason.
Do you share these feelings?
Very much. It doesn't surprise me that justice was not served in this case, but for it not even to go to trial, that surprised me. I was very upset when I first heard the news. I still am. I think it's an absolute travesty. We have in the States, really terrible track record when it comes to violence against people of color, specifically police violence.
So, Jerry, what do you think about the reactions that have followed this case in Ferguson? They've been very violent. They've been rioting, and all over America there's been a huge movement starting now. What do you think about it? Do you think it's warranted?
But if you look at the American Constitution, it enshrines the rights of people to associate, to gather, and to express their views. And if these people are going around expressing their views in a peaceful manner, then I see no reason for them to be stopped.
Do you think people might be overreacting?
Not at all. If you're more upset about looting than you are about shooting, that is a serious problem of priorities. The force used by police in those riots still far outweighs anything that citizens were doing. Rubber bullets, tear gas. Journalists were accosted and arrested for doing their jobs, which is completely illegal. The police, they overstepped their bounds in the shooting of Mike Brown, I believe, and they continue to overstep and overstep and overstep their bounds.
So what do you think the Mike Brown case says about racism in the United States?
A lot. I think the shooting of unarmed black men is, at this point, it's an American endemic. The Mike Brown case is not an isolated incident. It's something with precedent in America, and it's something that is still going on even after all of this civil unrest.
So, Jerry, where do you think it should go from here? What can be done to solve this very, obviously, complex issue?
First of all, we have to address the root cause of where we are talking about, and that is racism. There is structural racism that is enshrined in America, and until this is addressed, then I don't see any meaningful way or meaningful else going anywhere forward.
The slaughter of your children is not even worth our time and effort.
Nothing in the defense of the police officers?
I give kudos to police officers around the world putting their lives at risk to make sure that we feel safer. He was trying to do his job. But to be fair, I don't think he didn't really do his job as well as he should have, Yeah.
So, in many of these cases that you also mentioned, the young men did have criminal background. So they might have been deemed threatening to the police officers. Is that?
No, because the criminal background of the victim, in any case that I know about, has never been directly related to their actual killing. It was brought out later that Mike Brown, maybe, we don't even know for sure, was stealing from a convenience store, but that's not why he was stopped. He was stopped for jaywalking.
This whole movement that's starting now with all these protests, a lot of which are peaceful, what's the goal? Where do we want to go?
Obviously, we want greater racial and legal justice in America. School shootings, those are all young middle-class white men, and the media coverage tends to be, oh, what was wrong with him that made him do this? Was he troubled? Was he sick? Maybe he needs help. Whereas if a black person is a victim of a crime, not the criminal, the victim, we look for reasons that they deserved that. And so that is a serious, serious imbalance, and it's totally wrong on both sides, and we need to even this out. And I think that's the point that we want to get to.
What do you think? What's the end goal?
I think the end goal should be justice, but I also think the end goal should be a restructuring of the policing in America. There should be a meaningful discussion about race. If minorities are systematically being targeted, then it shows there's something intrinsically and inherently wrong in American policing and American society as a whole. I think we should address any systematic inequality that exists in society. And anytime we see that and we do nothing about it, I think it's a shame on society as a whole. So I would like to give a shout out, or rather, I would like to encourage people to talk about race, talk about the things, because they might not affect you, but one day you might be in a position where it might affect you. It might not affect you, it might affect your kids, And whether I like it or not, the world is becoming more mixed. and we really need to address issues.
So I'd just like to thank you, Ariel, and you, Terry, for coming here and discussing this with me. A lot of people wouldn't. So now I'm shouting out AAP students too. Reach out to each other, talk to each other, comment on this video with whatever your thoughts are, and see you next time.